Have you ever looked at your favorite plant and wished you could make more of it? Well, you can. Propagation is one of the easiest and most rewarding ways for a gardener to grow their garden. There are many different types of things that you can propagate, so we're going to be going over all of those different varieties, the various methods that you can use, as well as the tools of the trade. Let's get started. Propagation is the process of making a new plant from an existing one. It's nature's way of recycling and multiplying. For beginners, herbs like mint, basil, and even rosemary are great ways to get started. You can also propagate houseplants fairly easily, like pothos or succulents. And if you're feeling a little bit more adventurous, you could even propagate fig trees or grapevines. Even tomatoes and peppers can be propagated. The possibilities are pretty much endless. Before we start, we need to gather the tools that we're going to need. So first off, you're going to want some clean shears, scissors, pruners, whatever you want to use to take your cuttings. We want to make sure that they're clean so that we prevent disease, and we also make a nice clean cut. Rooting hormone can be used to speed up root development and is especially helpful for woody plants. And you'll also need either a seed tray or some cups, some small pots, whatever you're going to be placing your propagations in, as well as a humidity dome or even just a clear plastic bag can help to keep a nice humid environment for the beginning stages of propagation. You don't have to get too fancy with this. You can use mason jars or even just plastic cups. Water propagation is one of the simplest and easiest ways to propagate plants and works especially well for soft-stemmed plants like herbs or pothos. We've also done it with tomatoes, but here I have a pothos plant, and I've taken clean cuttings from the original plant. I have removed the stems from the lower portion of the branch, and then I simply take this part where I cut the leaves off and submerge that in water. I change this water out once a week, and it's been about 3 weeks since I first took these cuttings, and we're now starting to see some roots. Soil propagation follows the same basic steps, so we're going to take our cutting, we'll remove the leaves from the bottom 3 to 4 inches, and then we will dip the end of that woody plant into our rooting hormone and then place it directly in some moist soil. We'll cover the propagations with a dome or a clear plastic bag just to maintain humidity. Check on it weekly, make sure that the soil stays moist, and we should have roots within about a month. Tomatoes are fairly easy to propagate utilizing suckers. A sucker is a shoot off of the side of a tomato plant that happens between a branch and the main stem. These suckers are often pinched off by gardeners anyways to encourage fruit production, so instead of just discarding of it, we can turn it into another tomato plant. This is a great way to replenish your tomatoes during mid-season or give yourself a head start going into next year, which is what I've done here. I took these cuttings at the beginning of November, and I did an experiment where I tried both the water and the soil propagation method. Of the 10 cuttings that I took, I ended up with 3 tomato plants. And these all came from the soil and rooting hormone method. I also tried water with rooting hormone, and just putting those cuttings directly in soil. But this is the one that worked best for me. Don't be afraid to experiment and try something new, because what works best for me might not be what works best for you. Many people have success with tomatoes in water, and they wait until those roots get a couple of inches long and transplant the cuttings directly into soil and treat them as you would any other start. So here we have our rosemary bush, and rosemary is a fairly easy thing for beginners to propagate. It is a woody plant, so we are going to be doing the soil propagation method, and we want to start by taking a 4 to 6 inch cutting from new growth of the plant. So this is new growth. Anything that's a little bit more woody is old growth, so we want to make sure we're taking from the new part of the plant. I'm going to cut it out right here with my clean shears. Then I am going to remove the lower leaves. In this case, I'm going to take about half of them off, so I'm just going to pinch these off like so. I am going to utilize my rooting stimulator or my rooting hormone just to help give this a little bit of a head start. And this one is a liquid, some of them are powders, so it's personal preference of which you like. We'll coat it in that rooting hormone. I have a little about 4-inch pot with some moist soil in here, and I'm just going to take my rosemary cutting and stick it straight in. You don't really want to make any type of a hole because you want the cutting to be tight and in place. And we're going to push it down until those first leaves are right at the soil surface. In about 4 to 6 weeks, we should start seeing roots on these, as long as they're left in a humid environment and we make sure to keep the soil moist. You'll know that it started to make roots when you can take your cutting and pull on it gently and it doesn't move. Even with the best care, issues can arise. Overwatering is a common mistake because while it might be a little bit hard to believe, roots do need oxygen to form. On the flip side, underwatering can cause your cuttings to dry out really quickly and not take root. You'll also want to remember to use your nice clean shears so that you're not spreading any diseases or damaging your original plant. And even with the proper care, don't be discouraged if things don't work out for you. I mean, it took me 16 tries to figure out that I now have one more rosemary than I had before. And there you have it. Those are the basic steps that you'll need to get started with propagating. It's easy, fun, and a pretty inexpensive way to create more plants within your garden. So why not give it a try? If you liked this video, make sure that you subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share it with a fellow plant lover. And if you have any success stories or questions for us, please leave them in the comment section down below. Happy propagating, and we'll see you later.